Imagine this. It's the morning of December 31st, 2007, in the small town of Chilembra, Kerala. And the town is waking up to a crime that just seems impossible. A heist so slick, so perfectly planned, it honestly feels like it was ripped straight out of a movie. This is the story of how that happened.
So just how big was this? Let's talk numbers. The thieves got away with 80 kilograms of gold and 2.5 million rupees in cash. Now, in today's money, that's over 110 crore rupees. We're talking about 13 million US dollars. This wasn't just a robbery, it was one of the biggest heists in India's history.
And this was the question puzzling everyone that morning. When the bank employees showed up for work, everything on the outside looked completely normal. Main doors, locked. Alarms, silent. But inside, the vault was totally empty. The real mystery wasn't just what was gone, but how in the world it was even possible.
Well, the answer wasn't on the walls, and it wasn't on the doors. It was on the floor. Police found a massive, gaping hole cut right through the reinforced concrete. It led directly downstairs, into an empty restaurant. The thieves hadn't broken in, they had tunneled up from below. I mean, the level of professionalism here was just staggering. The thieves wore gloves, so there were 0 fingerprints. Their entry point was brilliant, completely unconventional. And to top it all off, they left a single, calculated message, J Mao, hoping to send the police on a wild goose chase, thinking it was the work of Naxalite extremists.
So who could pull something like this off? To get that, we need to talk about the architect behind it all, a career criminal named Joseph. This guy had spent his whole life dreaming of one last giant score, the one that would let him retire for good. This wasn't a crime of opportunity. This was his masterpiece.
Yeah, Joseph was no small-timer. He'd been in and out of jail since he was 18, had dozens of cases against him, and had even escaped from prison not once, but twice. It was actually in jail where he met his future partners in crime and sold them on his dream. One perfect robbery, so big he'd never have to steal again.
So where does an idea like this even come from? Well, you're not going to believe it. Joseph was apparently a student of heist films, and his lightbulb moment came while watching the Bollywood blockbuster Doom. There's a scene where a gang robs a casino by cutting a hole through the floor. For most people, that's entertainment. For Joseph, that was an instruction manual.
Now to pull this off, Joseph couldn't just be one person. He was living a triple life, a master of compartmentalization. To his crew, he was Joseph, the criminal mastermind. To his own wife, believe it or not, he was Jason Anthony, a regular guy with a clean past. And to everyone in Chilembra, the landlord, the locals, he was Babu, a complete ghost, an identity created for one reason, the heist.
Okay, so the plan is set. The fake identities are ready. Now it was time to put this movie-inspired dream into action.
And every single step was planned down to the last detail. First, they found the perfect target, a bank with no night guard, conveniently located right above a restaurant that was about to shut down. Second, he rented that space using his fake identity, Babu. Third, they put up a renovation sign to explain away any noise and time the actual break-in to happen during a loud temple festival. Then, for hours, they used marble cutters to slice through the concrete floor, coming up right inside the bank's strongroom. Unbelievable.
So while Joseph and his crew were probably celebrating their massive win, the police were walking into an absolute nightmare. The public pressure was immense. A special investigation team led by SPP Vijayan was put together. Their mission? To hunt a team of ghosts who left behind almost nothing to go on. You gotta see it from the police's perspective. The robbers had thought of everything. No fingerprints, fake names, that brilliant Naxical false flag to send them down a rabbit hole, even fake license plates on their getaway car. The police had practically nothing. Every lead just went cold.
So the question for the police was huge. How do you catch a ghost? The supposed mastermind, this Babu character, had no real ID, no real address. He was a phantom created for a single job. It was like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. With no physical clues, they had to go digital. And that's where this amazing piece of technology comes in. The police turned to what's called mobile tower dump data. Think of it like this. It's a giant digital net that captures a record of every single phone that connected to the cell towers near the bank around the time of the heist.
Now, this wasn't one of those cases you solve overnight.
This was a grind. For weeks, the police cleverly kept telling the press they were following that fake Naxal lead, just to make the real culprits feel safe. But behind the scenes, they were sifting through hundreds of thousands of phone numbers. After 45 grueling days, they narrowed it down to 63 suspicious numbers. And then, on day 50, they hit the jackpot. They found a second number registered to a VT Joseph that was always active in the exact same places as the phantom Babu's phone.
And that was the break they'd been waiting for. All of a sudden, their digital ghost had a real name. The police finally had a thread to pull, and they started to unravel Joseph's entire, carefully built house of cards.
So they pull the call records for this Joseph guy, and one number keeps popping up over and over again. He's in constant contact with a woman named Anita. This was their first real human connection to their suspect. The next question was simple. Who is she?
But it gets even better. They dig a little deeper into the call records and find a call made to a police constable in a totally different district. So they ring him up. And the constable says, "No, I don't know anyone named Joseph, but that number, that belongs to my old neighbor, a guy named Jason, who, by the way, is married to a woman named Anita." And just like that, bam, the puzzle pieces clicked into place. Babu, Joseph, and Jason, they were all the same person.
And the final piece of the puzzle, the one that would let them snap the trap shut, came from those same call records. They traced some calls to a local hospital and found out that Anita, Joseph's pregnant wife, had a doctor's appointment scheduled in just a few days. They finally had him. They had his name, they had his face, and now they had the exact time and place they could catch him.
So February 27th, 57 days after the robbery, it was go time. As Joseph walked into the hospital with his wife, police moved in and arrested him on the spot. At the exact same moment, other teams swooped in and arrested the rest of his crew across the city. The manhunt was over, and they recovered nearly all of the stolen gold.
So, what was the price for the perfect crime? Well, Joseph, the mastermind, and his main accomplice each got 20 years in prison. Their dream of a great life funded by one perfect heist, it ended right back where Joseph had spent so much of his life, inside a jail cell.
But the story doesn't quite end there. In a really ironic twist, a few years later, after getting out on bail, Joseph was caught robbing a jewelry shop. It seems the man who planned one of the most brilliant heists in Indian history just couldn't stop himself from being a common thief.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Joseph's plan was, without a doubt, a work of criminal genius. But in the end, was he a genius who just got outsmarted by modern technology, or was he simply a man trapped by his own nature, destined to fail no matter how perfect the plan was?